What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most fascinating and under the radar technology startups in the world, Dyson. You may know them as the very high quality vacuum innovator and disruptor and, home appliance company making hair straighteners, hair dryers, heaters, and all sorts of vacuums and cleaning products. But the company is truly much more than that. They are a technology company that touches a bunch of different facets of consumer life. And for the past couple years, Dyson has been working on basically a top secret stealth mode electric vehicle program, which sounds crazy and it sounds out of left field and like totally out of their wheelhouse. But the more I've been looking into what Dyson is as a company, what this electric vehicle is, their core competencies as a technology firm, I think Dyson could actually be set to be one of the biggest players in the future of the electric vehicle space, and marks, is a company that everybody should be watching. Unlike Neo, Rivian, Faraday Future, Lucid Motors, all the other Tesla competitors, Audi with the e-tron, the Volkswagen, everybody is just all fluff, hype, and marketing with their electric vehicles. In the meantime, Dyson has been totally quiet and has actually been executing on setting up a manufacturing facility, an R&D facility, and I think is going to set up to be one of the leaders in the emerging electric vehicle space here in the next 5 years. So in this episode, I want to go through what Dyson is as a company, what technologies they own, and the state of this electric vehicle program, and why I am so excited about the potential of what they're doing here. So Dyson, just a little bit of history as a company, was founded by a guy called James Dyson, now Sir James Dyson. He was knighted in the UK. He is a legendary inventor and entrepreneur. He basically saw this problem of the vacuum, which used to have huge bags and were plugged in everywhere and was basically a super inconvenient experience, and decided to reinvent the vacuum in a cordless electric way with much better suction, and basically just make an all-around better product. It took him over 5,000 attempts to create of prototyping this vacuum product to finally get the one that was perfectly right, and that was Dyson's first product. And so, they have a legacy of innovation, of experimentation, of disruption, and of amazing luxury, incredibly high quality consumer products. And so, diving deep into Dyson, and what really cuts to the chase here of why I'm so excited about this is Dyson's core technology is actually in electric motors, batteries, and aerodynamics. And these three things are basically incredibly important building blocks if you were to build an electric vehicle. And so, when you start to think about the competencies that Dyson has, many of their breakthroughs in their hair dryer, for instance, which I heard James Dyson talking about on the CBS morning show, he was saying that the reason why this is such a breakthrough and that it's such a light, convenient hair dryer is because the electric motor has been created to be 1/4 the size of other electric hair dryer motors, and it's much lighter. So they've created a smaller, lighter motor. Who does that remind you of? Tesla, who has the smallest, lighter motor technology, which is leading them to a huge advantage in the EV space. So all of the disruptions of Dyson's product line have actually been because they've been able to make advances on a much smaller level, but on the electric motor and battery side of the technology. So when you think about Dyson's core competency, it is in bringing industry-leading battery technology and electric motor technology to market in luxury consumer products. And they manufacture these products. They're a huge company. And so, when you think about this expertise, it starts to make a lot of sense why they're looking at electric vehicle. Now let's talk about what this electric vehicle program is. So back in 2015 was the first time that apparently Dyson began working on this electric vehicle program, and they actually purchased a solid state battery company out of Michigan named Saki 3 or SOC T3 or something like that, which we're going to get more into later. And anyway, then they started investing a couple $100 million into this project. In 2017, news reports came out that they would be pushing about £2 billion plus over the long term to bring an electric vehicle to market around the year 2020. Now, I was just reading this weekend, and I put it in the Hyperchange newsletter, this new CNBC report about Dyson's electric vehicle program. So now the company has about 500 people on its electric vehicle team. They've still committed that £2 billion plus lump sum to get this off the ground. They've been R&Ding and prototyping for this project, and they're actually getting ready to build a manufacturing facility in Singapore. This made no sense to me. I was like, what? Why are they building it in Singapore? First of all, Dyson is a British-based company who recently has planned to move their headquarters to Singapore. So not only they want to build cars there, but they actually want to move their HQ to Singapore. And so the more I was looking into this, at first it confused me, high labor rates. I've never heard of any car being manufactured in Singapore. According to this other YouTube video I was watching, the last car company that was in Singapore was Ford, and they left 40 years ago. So it makes no sense. But if you start to look at it through the lens of let's reinvent the manufacturing process using, technology and robots and the cutting edge, high paying engineers that we need, then going to a place like Singapore starts to make a lot more sense, especially when you layer on the top the fact that Dyson has actually been in Singapore for 16 years. And what do they do in Singapore? Their electric motor R&D and production facility. So Singapore is already a huge hub for Dyson's products, and especially the technology of their products that would be leveraged for the electric vehicle. So when you start to really look into what's going on here, it's a lot less crazy than it sounds. Additionally, the reason why Dyson is moving to Asia is because there's a huge demand for its products there. And reading into the fine lines, you might be wondering like, well, China is the largest electric vehicle market. What's going on there? Well, Singapore is in the very unique situation of having a free trade agreement with both China and the US. So in theory, they could be importing their cars to China with very little tariffs or costs and be entering that market through Singapore. So that is what is going on. So right now we have this company called Dyson who is chugging along with their whole home consumer products, but as this stealth mode electric vehicle program, which is rapidly advancing. CNBC claims that they want to have their first vehicles in production in 2021, which could be, as little as 18 months away or less. And so this is coming a lot sooner than people think. And the reason why I'm taking this seriously is because Dyson is such a legitimate company, and everything they do, every product category they enter, they take incredibly seriously. They take years to research this product. They perfect that product, and when they bring something to market, it's drastically better than the status quo. Like, they have a track record of making disruptions in all these product categories, and leveraging this core technology of batteries and electric motors. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see them do with electric vehicles, and that's why I take them so seriously. I mean, unlike Rivian, Neo, all these EV startups who are going for the hype right now, burning hundreds of millions of dollars, Dyson is a private company, as far as I can tell, still owned by Sir James Dyson. And I was Googling into their financials. In 2018, they reported, 33% revenue growth to 5.7 billion USD with 1.4 billion USD in profit. So Dyson is a company that is doing billions in revenue, that is scaling rapidly, that consumers love, that is making $1 billion plus a year in profit. They actually have the capital to invest in electric vehicle program like this without diluting shareholders, without needing outside funding, without getting on a partner that's going to make them change their vision. I mean, they can really go 0 to 1 on this electric vehicle, build it from scratch, build it from the ground up. They've said that it's going to look nothing like what cars are on the road today. They're redesigning it for what consumers want from the ground up. This will allow them to integrate the battery technology better. This will allow them to do better aerodynamics for the product. These are the same advantages that Tesla had by not being forced to adapt old school ICE manufacturing lines to EVs. And so I've always said that companies starting with a clean slate into vehicle production is going to be the way to go when we need an electric and autonomous future. From that lens, I look at, okay, so we've got, these Rivian, Neo, startup, Workhorse, Bollinger Motors, these pure play BEV startups that are trying to come up, but, they're burning hundreds of millions of dollars. They're having to take on huge investments. They're getting diluted, they've never even successfully brought any product to market. They have no core previous expertise in these technologies. I mean, Dyson has all of that. They've been doing consumer electronics for decades and been the world leader at it in advancing and miniaturizing electric motors and batteries. And so I think this is such a serious company to watch. And I will say that back to that solid state motor acquisition they made in 2015, they've actually wrote off a huge piece of that. So for all you saying like, oh, they might use solid state batteries and that's going to crush Tesla, like it looks like they actually won't be using solid state batteries as they impair that acquisition. Anyway, that wraps up this episode. I wanted to bring it to your attention because I've, been slowly following this Dyson EV story for about a year now. I've never made a video about it, but I wanted to today because I think this is my dark horse bet for who wins the EV race. Like, of course, I'm invested in Tesla, love their future. I think there's going to be a handful of very successful luxury EV OEMs going forward that become hugely successful companies that reinvent the transportation industry, that lead us towards a sustainable electric future. And I see Dyson as a huge contender in that. Just the way they're doing it with, no hype, building in Singapore, leveraging their old technology, already a profitable company, Sir James Dyson with an incredible track record. I mean, this is the company to watch in the EV space besides Tesla. Everyone else is much further behind, is a lot more fluff and hype than actual substance, which is what Dyson brings to the table. So, my bet is, we had fast forward 3 or 4 years, Dyson is going to create huge buzz with its electric vehicle, and it's going to capture, a really big, meaningful piece of the luxury vehicle segment, basically limited to as fast as they can expand production. So details are limited. It's going to be an expensive car coming around 2021, built in Singapore, but a lot of excitement going on here under the hood in this stealth mode Dyson EV project. So would love to know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Dyson is going to be a player in this space? What do you think of their EV program? Leave it in the comments. This is Hyperchange. Huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, producers, funding the channel. $5 a month. You can sign up for our exclusive newsletter. It's awesome. So check that out. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.